One. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Coach Cruise. And for you new people out there, I'm your host, Brad. And as you see, we have some special guests on the screen already with us. You may remember Andrew from Funnelheads. If he's been on several times. And our featured guests this week are Alyssa and Travis. And if that's the reason you came, then I don't think you're going to be disappointed because they have a heck of a story to tell you. And again, I met them on the Carnival Horizon last summer and cruised with them for almost 2 weeks. And yeah, so I tell you what, I got to play a little bit of catch up before we get to Alyssa and Travis. You know, obviously last week we had Lee Mason on, and that was an amazing, amazing show.
That was
And
incredible.
I wanted all the time to be, available to you all to be able to ask questions of Lee and everything. So we have shirts to give away. In fact, we have two shirts right off the bat that we need to give away for our super chats. And so I'm gonna do that first so I don't forget. I'm gonna read off the numbers. Tex has number 1, Tim G 2 through. This is for the first shirt. Tim G 2 through 11, Frankie F 12 through 14, Trisha 15 through 17, Sherry Sanchez 18 through 29, Tim G 30 through 49, Jeremy C 50 through 59, Cruz Kuzi 60 and 61, Jeremy again 62 through 71, Tex 72 through 81, and Jeremy C again 82 through 101. This is for the first shirt, and we'll have a second one right after this. Siri, give me a random number 1 through 100. All right, so the number is 30. I think everybody can see that there. Let's see who 30. That is Tim G. Tim has won before, and he's won again. So Tim wins the first shirt. Let's get to the second shirt. On this one, we have Lido Tito, who is actually Jeremy. Jeremy is 101. Okay. And then Lido Tito is 102 through, or actually, Jeremy is 1. Lido Tito is 2 through 21. Tim G is 22 through 41. Yoli is 42 through 56. Will G is 57 through 76. Trina is 77 through 86. And Angie is 87 through 200. All right. Siri, give me a random number 1 through 100. Okay, this time they called 79. So 79 is going to be Trina. Trina is the winner of the second shirt. And then the shirt raffle today, we're already up to 42. Remember, if we get to 100, we'll do a third shirt drawing. We have Angie 1 through 7, Joni 8 through 12, Christy Curry 13 through 32, Fireball Steve 33 through 42. And we're caught up for the most part. I see we got let me just say hi to everybody. I'm sorry, I'm making our guests wait here. So we got Bruce from Ocean to Ocean. We got Christy Curry is back. Will G is here back again. Bruce from Ocean to Ocean. Kevin B is here once again. Good to see all of you. Embarkation Nation is here. Tim G is back as always. Anybody I missed here? Together We Travel is here on deck with CB. And I think that's got Z checked in early, and Cruise Nuts checked in early as well. And Frankie Floyd is starting us off here with the first super sticker. Frankie, let me write you in there. And right now that makes you 43 through 45, and appreciate that very much. So yeah, just on the super chats, and then here Tim is perfect timing. Tim, Sadie gets a big treat when somebody does a $10 super chat. So high five for Tim Chi. And Tim, you are going to be for this third shirt, and you've already won one shirt today. You got 46 through 55. Okay, and if anybody does a $15 or more. I haven't even opened this
Nice.
bottle yet. I got the Elijah Craig ready. Then I get a treat as well. And we got Tex checking in as well here. Good to see you, Tex. Okay, so let's get to our guests here. We have Travis and Alyssa and Travis, and I met these two last year on the Carnival Horizon. And you see they're a younger couple, and I think that's one of the more surprising things about this is I know all of us have heard those stories about people that live on cruise ships and stuff. Most of the time, when I see those stories, it's usually an older couple or somebody that's pretty well off. And so the first question I have, and please put your questions in the chat for questions that you have for Travis and Alyssa, is as a relatively young couple, how did the idea come about? And then the first thing is, how did you pull it off? How did you pull off living on a cruise ship, able to afford it, manage your work schedule around it and everything? So I'm sure that's going to take you a minute to explain all that.
Sure. Yeah. I think our story kind of started in Washington, D.C. During the pandemic. We lived there for about 13 years, both of us. And I think as the pandemic started going and jobs became work from home more, freedom started opening up in that side of things. So I ended up getting a new job that was remote, and that opened up pretty much the world for us. Nice. And so at that point in time, we decided, why not, kind of when things started winding down, we took off to Mexico.
We did. Mm-hmm. We lived in Puerto Vallarta last year for 4 months. And then we don't have an apartment or a house or a car in the US.
We sold the car as soon as we left DC because I was driving 20 miles one way to work every single day on the Beltway in DC. And it was just, an hour-long commute each way sometimes. And we were kind of sick of that rat race.
Yeah. So what prompted us is to have a more digital nomad life. And last spring, after we got back from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, we had signed a lease for a vacation rental in Miami. We didn't want to sign at a regular apartment because we didn't have furniture. We didn't want to do a moving truck. So we were just looking for a place that's already furnished. And we did it sight unseen, and it did not go well at all. And so while we were working with a realtor in Miami, we were staying in hotels, and it was getting really expensive to stay in hotels. We didn't have a car, so of course we wanted somewhere walkable.
Yeah, Miami Beach, kind of that area fit the bill for a walkable city. We didn't want to have to commute anywhere. We didn't need to. Just be someplace that was easy to get to everywhere. And really, like she said, the hotels just became pretty expensive while we were looking for a more long-term solution. And lo and behold, I get a couple emails from Carnival. Hey, we want you back. We sailed on Carnival back in 2018, and I did a little bit of gambling here and there. And they were offering some of these Carnival cruise deals for $100 a person on the Carnival Horizon, and it was the 6-day, 8-day switch. So it was every 6 days and 8 days it would repeat on the same ports. So.
Yeah. So we just decided, well, instead of staying at all these random hotels, we stayed in a hostel in Miami. We stayed all over 5 different places the whole month of May. And we decided, well, we'll just book a 6 and 8 day cruise on Carnival instead of doing a hotel, and just put our stuff in storage because it's going to be better than staying in Miami Beach. Food's included. It
was
awesome.
Much more affordable, and it was a better deal. It was a better deal than staying in a hotel anywhere in the Miami-Dade, area. So it worked out financially, and it worked out convenience-wise for us because we were still able to call our realtor, and we were still having video showings and stuff while we were on the cruise ship. I was able to work from the cruise ship over satellite internet, and it was fine to be able to do, meetings and whatnot. Yeah, that's kind of how everything came about, like in a quick abridged version.
So you started off with the 14 days, and then what extended it? Did you just say, hey, we can we can continue to get these deals and let's just keep riding now?
What portion of the cruise was it, like day one where you're like, let's just keep going?
I think some of the people from Carnival customer service that we talked to keep on booking, they were as excited as we
They were, yeah. Some of the vacation planners we got a hold of.
And they're like, yeah, you can book this week and this week. And then we had a month. And then I'm like, well, I'm fine to do it for 3 or 4 months. I mean, he was working remote, which was good. I have in-person work right now, so it wasn't easy to do on this ship. But we were lucky because everything was included that we were able to just kind of do that. And we had the deals go until through August.
Yeah, I think that the way that we make it sound easy to be able to do that, but the rate codes that Carnival uses, they're assigned to a certain cabin. And I don't know if you're going to get into this later or not, Brad, with questioning, but those rate codes are specific to, the cabin that it's tied to. And there were some weeks where we didn't have a booking for the next week. Okay. We had no idea if it would be opened up because the ship was full or those rate codes were not there. And in order to stay within the same amount of budget that we were budgeting for each month, we wanted to try to get that $100, free ticket basically that Carnival was offering us. Wow. So
right, yeah, and you know what? I never really thought that deeply about the rate codes and how they're attached to each room, but I have heard the casino people say to me, well, we're only awarded this many rooms per cruise and that type of thing. And I didn't know that they were specific rooms. I thought they were just, like categories, like we'll give you 5 balconies, we'll give you, this many.
Well, and that may be the case. But I think that as the cruise gets closer to leaving too, they maybe give the casino more. I'm not sure exactly how that works, but we definitely, as the time came to sail date, we would be more likely to get a cabin to open up, and then we'd immediately book it, and then we'd, repeat.
Yeah.
So it just kind of became a thing that every 6 days and 8 days while we were on there, we'd be constantly trying to fill the gaps, as it were, to make sure that we didn't have any gaps going forward. I mean, I remember we did have a scare one time when we thought we had one booked and we didn't. And they were supposed to book it for us, but something went wrong. And we had to book one at the very last second, but still got it.
But if worst came to worst, I mean, we had our stuff in a storage locker and we could have got off in Miami. I mean, luckily having everything there made it a lot easier to take that risk.
Well, hold on just 1 second. Tex, I want to thank really quick. $20 super sticker. So you treat both Sadie and I. High five for Tex here. Go enjoy that. And let me enjoy my first shot of Elijah Craig. Thank you, Tex. All right. So this next question, Travis, is mainly towards you.
Okay.
Because we met at the craps table.
We did, Brad. We had some good nights.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. So how did you, I mean, you had to have a budget as far as that goes for a gambler to be on a cruise ship for, pretty much the whole summer.
Sure.
That's a dangerous proposition right there. So how did you manage gambling in a casino almost on a nightly basis and still able to walk off in Mexico with a few bucks in your pocket when all said and done?
That was an interesting one. And I kind of just created a rule for myself that I was only ever going to bring like $200 to the table max, and if that disappeared, I may take a day or two off, or I would just leave and come back the next night or something. I think it also helped that we were also getting about I guess it was the fun play. It was about how much was that? 150 to 250, I think, in fun play each cruise. So that was also helping pad, any kind of losses that I might have. It just became kind of routine where, I was always seen at the craps table almost, nightly. And I got very well acquainted with all the dealers and the pit bosses and everybody knew me, going forward. But I had, over the 9 weeks, because of the stringent rules that I placed on myself, I had phenomenal luck. I mean, all things considered, and definitely we pretty much canceled out over a month and maybe a week of the entire of the entire 9 weeks just in gambling winnings. So that worked out pretty well. Luckily, but I get that that's not for everybody.
No, because on the other cruise you do
that's
not
true.
have
Yeah, exactly.
Well, let me just say hi to a couple of people that came in. Michael came in a little bit late. Will, I think I mentioned you earlier, but if not, Fireball Steve just got in here. So hello to all of you. And then Andrew, did you have any questions that came to mind that you wanted to ask?
The first question that I wanted to ask is, when you got on the ship, obviously it was a place, that you wanted to stay because you were renting and all that. But was the first week kind of like vacation, or was it like vacation for several weeks and then it kind of transitioned into, okay, now we're just living here for a little bit?
You want to take that?
Well, you were working the whole time.
Right.
So it never really was a full vacation, I guess, the whole time, because we were dealing with stuff that, we were very connected. We were working with our realtor and a whole bunch of other stuff, but we really enjoyed ourselves, I would say. I mean, even with doing stuff that people would normally forget about on vacation, because we were still trying to go forward with our lives, we still really enjoyed ourselves. I would say, as far as the dining room and all the shows and everything, the first couple of weeks we were really having to do it all, but then we did get used to it.
Gotcha.
And we would sometimes just be, oh, we'll go on the buffet or whatnot. But I'll never forget his first work call that you took at 9 a.m. on the Monday, because none of your coworkers knew that you were living on the ship. He was like, ahoy.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It was too funny. I was like, this man is living his life dream.
He's living his best life.
Did you have any internet nightmares? Because I've had quite a few, and Andrew's probably had a few himself. I haven't had a lot of luck, as a creator. I usually get the best level of internet, and I had a lot of trouble. So I'm surprised that it went as smoothly for you. You said that it went relatively well. Were there any?
Yeah, I remember you talking about that when we were on board, and I remember you were trying to upload some videos or something, and it was taking a long time for you. And yeah, I think since we had the onboard credit, we were using that toward the internet packages to cover those. And we did have some spottiness. There was a tropical storm that actually prevented the Horizon from docking at the Bon Air. We actually missed that port that day because we couldn't dock. The waves were too bad. But that kind of tropical storm did block out the satellite internet, and that pretty much stopped all communication for at least a day. But that was really the only time that I think I had a significant issue connecting. But I was never doing anything video, no live video or anything like that.
Yes.
I tried it once. I did try live video once, and it seemed to work pretty well. But I think we were still relatively close to land at that point. I think we were so close to Miami.
So most of your communication was chat? Is that it?
A lot of chat, but also just over voice. We use Microsoft Teams for my work. So it was all Microsoft Teams, just audio. And that seemed to work pretty well. And I think,
I did Skype and WhatsApp video. I had no trouble with Skype and WhatsApp
that's true.
videos.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about your lessons. I mean,
I continued to do Spanish lessons all the time with my instructor. And sometimes there was an issue once in a while, but nothing that prevented continuing with things that you would normally do at home for us, I would say.
That's great. Yeah, I think our trouble is a lot with the upload, but even just getting on websites every now and then, I have some trouble. So, but it's great to hear that you guys had that luck. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was definitely better when we were in port days. That could have also been it, because we had so many different ports on each cruise.
Right. And the way the ships generally handle that is all of the Carnival ports, at least in the Caribbean, they hardwire the ship when they pull in. So you'll notice a significant boost. Not many people may notice because you guys all get off or something, and and we'll probably talk about that, but they hardwire the ship and then the speed significantly increases for everybody on board. So,
yeah. Well, real quick, Frankie said the new Starlink is great. Frankie, if you could put in the comments what ship you were on that has the Starlink right now, because I don't think many of the Carnival ships do yet.
Yeah, I didn't think
I did hear rumors.
It was like getting installed, but I maybe.
Yeah, they just penned a deal in January, I think, or maybe beginning of February for Starlink to be on Carnival ships. But I don't know as if they actually were implementing that yet. But obviously, the Royal Caribbean fleet is pretty much outfitted.
Yeah.
Somebody said just the other day, I think the Elation or something just came out of dry dock, and it might be the first. Some ship just came out of dry dock.
Yeah, it was Elation. Everyone was surprised because it got, a little bit of a refurb and the colors, the new paint job and everything. But I think a lot of people were thinking that was the next ship to be sold or scrapped. But it looks like it's going to be around for at least a couple more years, which is awesome.
Well, and you two, you just touched on it a little bit, but and you mentioned at the beginning as well. So you're doing the 6 and the 8 day, and I'm actually April 1st. And I know Kevin B is on here as well. He's on the April 1st Horizon cruise with me as well. But the itinerary was the same. I mean, it flipped between the 8 and the 6, correct? But were there any particular places or excursions or beaches or whatever that you absolutely tried to do each time you went to any of these ports? Or did you get into any kind of a routine as far as the ports went?
Aruba, maybe? Talk about.
I mean, I would say I got off more than you did because you couldn't get off with work.
Yeah. I generally stayed on board sometimes to work. But when we did get off, we did get off a few times in Aruba. And traveled up to Eagle Beach, I think it was.
Oh, the ports were just all beautiful. I mean, it went to La Romana, Puerto Plata. It went to Aruba, Bonaire, Curacao, Grand Cayman, like Cozumel, of course. Cozumel was my favorite port, which is why we ended up getting off there instead of going back to Miami. But I would say we didn't do as many excursions.
No, yeah, the excursions we kept to a minimum because since we were living on the ship, it kept our budget within pretty standard reason. I mean, like it always was about the same expenditure, after the 4 weeks or after a month or 2 or 4 cruises back to back. So
did you guys stay? Sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Andrew. Go ahead.
Did you guys? I know you said you were trying to use, or you did use the same rate, but did you actually stay in? Like, were you lucky enough to stay in the same cabin quite a bit?
No.
No.
Stayed on every single floor of the whole ship. I know exactly where is the most quiet area to be. Definitely in the middle, both. Unheightened.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll probably ask us again, but that's one of the things that we would say is a negative is that every 6 days or 8 days we had to move cabins. The plus on that side of things was that we didn't have to move our own stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Just throw it in a large garbage bag and leave it there, and they would haul it to the next room for you.
Gotcha.
It didn't matter if you packed it or whatever; they would move everything, and so that was nice. But it did create kind of a problem every single 6 days or 8 days that we had to try to get all our stuff back together and get used to another room and another floor. New steward.
The new steward was awesome though, because we got to meet so many people.
We get to meet so many
just loved everyone. But I mean, it's just so different. Unfortunately, with cruises, you do book the rate for the room. So like hotels you do as well, but they do have more leeway with keeping you in the same room. Whereas on a cruise ship, you really can't stay in the same room unless you booked in advance.
And we tried. We talked to corporate and we talked to the front desk and guest services, and there's basically nothing that they can do to keep you in the same room between back-to-backs like that.
Yeah.
Unless you booked it ahead of time,
Right.
like that. Since we were booking separate cruises, we just followed where the rate code went.
Gotcha.
Real quick, just want to say hi to a few more people that jumped in. Yoli is here. April is here on deck with CB. We have Cody. Does one of you know Cody? Cody says family in the chat. I don't know if they're referring to you or if they're referring to somebody that's in the chat that they're talking to.
Might be cousins out west. Might be.
Randacita, hello. And so you started talking about the Horizon, and I know I invited people from my cruise group that are going on the Horizon to ask questions. If anybody in the chat has questions about the Horizon, there's probably not, there's these two are probably more knowledgeable about anybody that you could talk to as far as the Horizon goes. So what were some of the things that you most enjoyed about the Horizon? What are some things that you would most recommend to people that are cruising on the Carnival Horizon?
Oh, goodness. Well, the ship is beautiful.
Absolutely gorgeous. Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I would recommend, especially if you're looking for more relaxation time, doing the thermal suites.
Oh, yeah.
So the very last week, we got upgraded to the thermal suites area, and that was amazing on the Horizon. It's super relaxing. They have like 4 different steam rooms, whirlpool, the heated chairs where you can just overlook the water. So that I would recommend. Yeah, if you're looking for just more relaxation, because the pools can get a little crowded. Of
Quite
course.
crowded, yeah. And I know you covered that in I think your previous video, Brad, about having that private pool back there in the Havana area.
Yes.
And I remember how jealous I was of you guys
So
having
jealous.
that pool back there. And I was like, oh, why can't we have that, Havana cabin back there? But having the thermal spa, and that actually I think was a gift from the guest services when they got us that cabin.
Yeah, that
because I don't think that normally would happen as the rate code would allow us to get into the thermal suite.
I don't think too many people are feeling sorry for you. You were like 9. Cry us a river.
I don't want to go back.
Yeah, but I would definitely recommend though. Yeah, the thermal spa was absolute beautiful in there and very comfortable. And they also offer, I don't know if you've ever covered, but they do offer day passes. So if somebody doesn't want to buy a cabin in the thermal area, you can do day passes in there, which are pretty affordable and get to experience the ultimate pampering, that place has.
So this was August of last year that you guys got off the ship. Is that right?
We did.
Yes.
Have you been on a ship since or booked or what do you got going on?
We have. So we actually, in spring of 2020, we had a Princess cruise booked.
Okay.
And we had a credit that we hadn't used, and it was going to expire in December of last year. So we ended up using that and taking a cruise from London to Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, the one in 2020 on Princess was canceled because of the pandemic and whatnot. And so they gave everybody a bunch of credit. And we had some future cruise credit from a previous cruise. What was that, in 2018 or something like that?
A long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago to still use. And so we pushed all of that future cruise credit plus the previous cruise that got canceled all together. And my parents were like, oh, we're heading over to London to take this transatlantic on Princess to Fort Lauderdale and through France and Spain. And so we were actually on the first flight for the season out of Cozumel on Air Canada to Montreal, and then connected to from Montreal to London to catch that cruise in, I guess, what month was it? November. Yep, for Thanksgiving.
Yep. So it was a Princess cruise, which is such a different vibe than the Carnival
Such a different
cruise.
vibe. Oh my God.
It's like night and day.
Quiet.
Very quiet.
Very quiet. The deck parties are definitely not on par. I will say that. It's even when the weather is nice. I mean, and we experienced some 80-degree days in the middle of the Atlantic on the way back.
Yeah.
I mean, it was gorgeous. There's just it's not the same. And I'll tell you, the casino.
Oh,
they were short-staffed. The craps table, I don't know what kind of felt that thing was, but it was like a basketball court, and I couldn't get anything on there, Brad.
You had bad luck on Princess.
Yeah,
you made up for the good luck you had on Carnival.
Absolutely. And I couldn't believe that over like 16 days, I couldn't get anything going, and it's just wasn't happening. So I just stopped. I gave up after a while.
Well, you were right to do it. Um, we have Angie who's checked in. She's one of the trifecta in the Charlie's Angels group. I cruised with her, and she is on the April 1st Carnival Horizon with me. So, and we're both booked in the Havana area, so that's going to be a party. Then we have Rob and Jan can cruise. Hello to you two. They're saying hello to Andrew and Bruce from Ocean to Ocean. So
hey, Rob and Jan.
Hello. And any shows that you watch? Because I mean, one of the things I like the most about the Carnival Horizon are some of the shows. Mm-hmm. I love my favorite show. And it's being put to the test now because the XL class has come out with some amazing shows with some aerial acrobatics on strings and cables and stuff. But Celestial Strings,
yes,
I just absolutely loved that show. I also like greatly Vintage Pop and Soulbound. And those three shows are on the horizon. Now, obviously, you're on there 8 weeks, so you're not going to watch the shows every time. But I'm sure you saw all of the shows at least once.
They could perform in it after 8 weeks.
I know. I was like, I need to get a job on this ship, like at least at the front desk.
You said that quite a few times.
Yeah, we did not see Vintage Pop.
Nope, we did miss that.
Really?
Isn't that? I know. Yep. Like, I guess because you're on there every week, and you just.
You're like, I'll get to it.
You just figure you'll get to it next week.
There were certain things that, like, I remember specifically, like, I'll see Top Gun next week when it's in the IMAX theater, and then suddenly it was another movie, and I'm like, oh, I missed it. I missed the play.
Yeah.
So we always had something to do, but it was always either seeing comedy or seeing the shows.
Yeah.
And we really enjoyed the comedy shows. That was one thing that was always fresh, mostly because they switched comedians all the time. And that was one thing we really liked. Celestial Strings, another one.
Amazing. The violinist trio was phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just loved hearing them in the atrium every night. It was incredible. Like,
and we got to meet one of them and talk to her for a while and knew her fiance.
Yeah.
And we talked to him for a long time and wonderful people.
Oh,
very talented.
Travis, Cody Jensen, your cousin.
That's what I thought. I told you it was my cousin. Hey, Cody.
Well, real quick before I put Cody up on the screen, John had a question, and I forgot to ask you before I started talking about the shows. But he said, "What's your favorite place to eat?" He's cruising on the horizon April 15th. So, some of your favorite things to eat on the ship.
I would say the sushi place, which why am I blanking on the name of it? Bonsai sushi. The sushi boat is incredible.
Awesome deal.
Yeah. I also just love the Blue Iguana Grill. Like, I am a burrito bowl fan. Like, it was my little Chipotle on board. Like, I was there every day. You didn't.
I didn't eat there as much as you.
I love Blue Iguana and the hot sauce bar. So that was my thing. But if you're looking for a specialty restaurant, definitely the sushi. And the awesome salad bar up on Serenity Deck. Not a lot of people know about it.
That's a hidden gem.
Yeah.
It is. I was always going up there to get the massive salad bowls that I just love.
That's like the only place where you can get those larger bowls.
The large bowls.
If you're used to like a sweet green kind of thing or
just
whatever,
massive salad bowl they have. Yeah.
Well,
what any place?
Alyssa, let me jump in with you and piggyback on that because I came off the Carnival Breeze most recently. And the cruise director there was a gentleman named Lawrence. He's an up-and-coming cruise director. He's very good. I think people are really, really going to like him. But I was in a Q&A session with him, and somebody had asked him what his favorite thing to eat on the ship, and he mentioned the Blue Iguana Cantina. Mm-hmm. And he said, I love to get the tacos. And he's like, you can't just go up there and get the tacos. You got to go up there and get the tacos, and you got to put everything on it. Put the cilantro, put the sour cream, put all this stuff on there. And I was like, damn, that sounds good. I haven't had, some tacos in a while. I went up there and got like 3 or 4 tacos. I got an ice cold beer, and I just threw down. I mean, I loaded those suckers up. It was one of those things where you take a bite and like 6 things fall off of it. But it was so good. So I can totally relate. And as a matter of fact, Andrew and I just did a simultaneous ranking of our favorite favorite free food choices on the Carnival Cruise Lines. And I had Blue Iguana tied for second with Guys, as right up there at the top of the list on a top 10. So yeah, I can totally relate to you. Real quick, just wanted to give an update. So Tex, I forgot to mention, he did a $20 super chat, and you have numbers 56 through 75. Tex, if we get 25 more in super chats, we will do another shirt drawing. We did 2 shirt drawings, mostly for the previous 2 weeks. But yeah, if we get 25 more in super chats, we will do another shirt drawing by the end of this show. So let's see. So we have Cody, your cousin.
Yep. Hey, Cody. Nice seeing you.
Yeah.
Thanks for the support.
Oh, 36 days. Oh, wow.
And then look at this. We have Rob and Jan can cruise, and I guess they can.
Yeah.
They're saying, hey, 9 weeks, look at us. We got 36 days. Back to back, side to side on the Carnival Dream and Vista. Finally watched a couple movies the last week and took in one show. Time does fly by when cruising.
It does. It flies by.
It really does. So yeah, and I can relate to that too, because I know that when I was on the Mardi Gras, I was on for 2 weeks, and I did an interview with Lee Mason on the ship. And we had already gotten through the first week. I really hadn't even gotten up to the Lido deck. The XL class, it was so big. There's so much to do and everything. And I remember doing the interview with him, and I was like, I haven't even seen the boat roller coaster yet. And he's like, what? He's like, you got to go see. And I'm like, well, it'll be out here next week. That's why I didn't, make a point to get up there. But yeah, you really can get caught up. And that will lead me actually to my next question, because when you two, were kind of off doing your own thing, did you two kind of get into a routine, like, from 3 to 5, I'm usually in this place, or, and you kind of, okay, I'm going to be in the gym from such and such a time. And on a day-to-day basis, did you kind of get into a routine like you would if you were living at home?
Definitely.
Yeah, I think so. Every day I had my calls for work, like early in the morning around 9:30. And I know Alyssa had a schedule too around the morning.
Yeah. I would always go to the gym. I loved going to the gym.
She was always in the gym.
I don't think you went to the gym once.
But
I loved it, because you can where else in the world can you be in a gym just overlooking the sea? I was like, this is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah,
like,
great equipment up there. Good, they have the wonderful gyms on board the Carnival ship. So
definitely.
And I think that a lot of times throughout the afternoon, if she went ashore, I'd always set up shop in the buffet area. Now, the one particular thing about Carnival Horizon, and this might be interesting to your viewers, is that if you are out and about in the ship and you have a device that you want to plug in, you are going to have a hard time finding an outlet. Now, this differs per ship, depending upon where the ship was built and the power outlets on board. Now, if you have a European plug adapter, you will find some of them in the buffet area and maybe sparingly other places around the ship, where they generally plug in vacuum cleaners and things like that to vacuum the ship and run, floor polishers and whatnot. But the buffet was generally a more comfortable place for me, because I had access to coffee and I had access to food. And I kind of just popped my headphones in and just, worked on work, and people watched on the side. So that was kind of my afternoon. Generally, you could find me up there. So
now, how many hours did you have to spend doing that, where you just kind of sat around on your computer or whatever?
Well, I'm a software engineer, so it kind of comes with the territory that I do have to do that. But the nice thing is the freedom sometimes of when I want to complete that work, or when things need done, then I'll do that. But other times, I'd go ashore with her or something and then do the work at night. So that is the freedom of working from home sometimes in that capacity, that it allows me to, complete things when I can. So.
Definitely.
So was there one thing that either one of you did like daily that is unique to the ship, or for example, I guess, like you mentioned the gym. Is that something you did every day, Alyssa, or is that just, 3 times a week kind of thing? Or, I mean, was that, part of the routine? And did you ever, like, for example, every day have a drink looking at the wake in the back of the ship, something like that? Or were there any kind of routine things that you did, just because you were on a ship, I guess?
Absolutely. I would say I went to the gym at least probably 5 days a week, but I love the 5th floor, like where the coffee shop is. If you go out those doors, I would get a coffee and just go out and sit in those comfortable chairs, usually in the morning, like on my laptop or even taking a call. I never got tired of looking at the ocean. I didn't want it to end.
Yeah, there was a really nice view on that deck.
I know. It was just beautiful. I would say I spent more time outside during the day than you did, but you definitely probably at night.
At night, I spent more time outside when it was cooler generally. And I would say one thing that's, pretty unique, maybe not to the Horizon, but to being on the cruise ship. I mean, you could find me at the crab stable almost. So
definitely the crab table and then the pizza.
Oh yeah, in the pizza shop until like 3 a.m, as you know, Brad. We definitely.
The pizza shop was your staple, and mine too. I would love to go up there. Yep. I mean, what I enjoyed so much is if you want a late night snack, you go up there. There's always people around. You can start a conversation with anyone. I mean, and just like sitting, eating a slice of pizza, overlooking at the back of the ship. Yep. I loved it.
Well, Andrew, do you want to jump in? Because I feel like I do have a question ready. So
no, you're good. So obviously you got to know a lot of the crew quite a bit. Everywhere you go after like the 3rd week, the crew probably come up and talk to you. So how was that like? And who did you meet? Any like special circumstance that happened?
Yeah, we had a list by the time we got off.
Oh my God, yes.
We had a list, and this was by memory. I mean, we had a list of over like 35 to 40 names, probably easily, that we dropped on this list, and that we knew personally. And if they saw us, they'd say hi by name, and we'd say hi by name.
Definitely the front desk staff, because they were always there on disembarkation day, because we still did have to vacate the room, and so we always saw them, and they gave us some awesome perks.
Like
dinners at a few of the restaurants,
and like drinks here and there, and they were just very helpful and helpful. Like even when we got off the ship in Cozumel, I remember the front desk staff actually like helping us with our luggage all the way to the taxi stand, which they're not supposed to do with anything that belongs on the ship. Yeah. They made an exception for us, and literally wheeled all of our luggage in a waiter cart all the way to the taxi stand. And
that's true.
And for people that don't know the Cozumel port, that's a pretty hefty walk to get all the way to the taxi stand. I mean, the pier itself is a pretty hefty walk, but even once you get to the end of the pier, it's another hefty walk, walking through the shops and everything to get to that taxi stand. So yeah, that is impressive. And actually, and Andrew, I'll kind of piggyback, because that was actually my question, because, I cruised with Alyssa and Travis at the very end.
That's right.
It was their last couple weeks. As a matter of fact, I stayed on the ship the last couple days. The last port was Cozumel, I believe. And then we had either 1 day to get back or 2 days to get back. I forget which it was. But that's when they got off. Gotcha. So the unique thing about that was, obviously, I was back to back with them, for that section. But then I remember speaking with Travis and Alyssa, and you could tell that they were, it was like a very bittersweet thing, because they had to say goodbyes to everybody. And you could tell it really, hit them in the heart, that they were going to have to say goodbye to all these people. And I remember you all discussing that with me and sharing that with me. So could you fill us in on, how all that went when you finally had to say goodbye to all these people that you've been sharing a ship with for, pretty much the entire summer?
Oh, it was so sad. I mean, we definitely made sure the last couple of days to go around and tell everyone that we were finally getting off, and that we wanted to keep in touch with them, and hopefully if they were in Cozumel, where we were going to be living, we could meet up. I mean, it was sad. I'm pretty sure I cried.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm sure I cried. I mean, seeing these people every day, like the staff made the cruise in so many ways, because otherwise it would have felt very stiff, but they became like family.
They really did. I mean, we came to rely on the same people day in, day out, and they were used to seeing us, and they we always the one thing that we always that we haven't talked about is like the onboard credit. We were actually struggling quite a lot to spend it all, so we just sent it into tips. And that's one thing that, if you guys are ever having trouble spending onboard credit, tip your crew, because they are amazing people and they work so hard. And seeing that switch over on, the 6 and 8 day at the end of that every single week, and seeing it over and over and over again in the condition that Horizon ship can actually get to on some messy cruises, and seeing how they can clean that up within, an hour or two, it's just astonishing. And they work so hard, and they deserve everything, that they make that happen.
Yeah.
So. Well, one thing that might surprise you, that surprised me, because on the New Year's Eve cruise that I went on the Breeze, it was a 5-day and then a 4-day back-to-back. So my wife and I were on that. We didn't have to get off the ship.
No kidding. Okay.
I'm sure if that would have been the case for you, it would have been much better.
Oh, but yeah.
It was the first time ever that had done a back-to-back, and the guy came on and he asked for our passport, and Anita forgot her passport in the room.
Oh no.
She had to go get it or whatever. But the border patrol or whatever people came onto the ship and just checked the people that were doing a back-to-back. And it was the first time ever that we didn't actually have to get off the ship and walk down and do the whole thing. It's the first time ever. I was like, oh, this is amazing. This is awesome.
That would have been very convenient. I mean, walking through the Miami port every time was, it was super early in the morning, and
they did give mimosas.
That's true. The mimosas on the back-to-back
picture, right?
Not bad. Yeah.
Yes, mimosas, and we got the back-to-back picture.
Oh yeah.
Although we stopped getting that at about week 3, which we should have continued to get them, but it would have been the repeat outfit.
Yeah, I think our outfits would have started repeating in the pictures, and we are just like, well, I'm not really sure. So.
I know.
So,
go ahead, Chad. Yeah,
one question. So you guys got off in Cozumel. We love Cozumel. That's actually where we got married. So I just wanted to ask you guys where you stayed afterwards, or and how long, and how was it actually living there for an extended period of time?
It was amazing. So we first got off. We stayed in a bed and breakfast called Endless Summer, and we stayed there for a week while we looked for rentals. That was beautiful. It was a little bit farther back into the neighborhood, but Cozumel is super walkable and bike friendly. I mean, they have great stores there if you're looking to get anything. I know a lot of crews stop there and stock up on groceries and stuff and bring it back. But living there was amazing. We lived in Puerto Vallarta before, so we had lived in Mexico. I speak pretty good Spanish, I would say.
She does,
intermediate Spanish, but I don't know.
Good.
So I was happy to have that help test my Spanish a little bit. And then we ended up doing a vacation rental just until November, because we would have liked to stay longer, but they have some serious high season in the popular tourist spots in Cozumel and Puerto Vallarta, and a lot of people from Canada have rentals all lined up. So what we were looking to is this place was booked up, and several of the vacation rentals were booked up, and that was because it was becoming the high season, November, December. So we just decided to stay for the 3 months there while it was the low season in August, September, and October. And it was a low season. It was not crowded at all. It was very chill. I mean, it's a very quiet island at night. It's not like Playa del Carmen or Cancun or even Puerto Vallarta. It's a pretty sleepy island that people get up early to dive. You're not going to find crazy nightlife on Cozumel. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think the craziest days on Cozumel are when the ships are in port.
How long did you two stay there again in Cozumel?
Cozumel, we were there for 3 months.
Yep. So beginning of August until roughly middle of November.
It was funny when we did. Sorry, I keep cutting you off, Brad. We did an all-inclusive in Cozumel once with a couple of friends, and we loved the resort and going around the island. Michelle, my wife, would run every day, like just through the town and stuff, and we get lunch everywhere. But one of the days we were just sitting at the hotel, and we're like, yeah, drinks here are free because it's all inclusive, but let's go visit the cruise guests. So we went into the cruise terminal, even though you're not supposed to. We went into the cruise terminal, hung out with some of the cruise guests. They're like, what ship are you on? We're like, we're not on a ship. So it was a good day. Sorry.
Oh, that's awesome. Where did you guys get married? I wonder if we know the hotel.
It was I can't remember the hotel name. It was actually a dive resort. It was through Carnival.
Cool.
It was on the beach, so we booked the wedding through Carnival, and then they had just, I think, the one site that we could get married in Cozumel, but this was back in 2012, so it's been a little while. So I think actually when we went there, because we walked to the hotel and it was like a different name and different everything, so I'm sure it changed ownership. But it's near, like, if you know where like the dolphin excursion is, where it's right near that area. So.
Oh, nice. That would be beautiful.
Yeah, we really enjoyed it.
Rob and Jan can cruise have asked a question. They say, Alyssa and Travis, are you Canadian?
No, nope. We're from the U.S.
Yeah, we are from the U.S. Yeah.
Oh, what states?
Well, I was born in Ohio.
Yep, and I was born in Michigan. So we're Midwesterners and ended up in the big city, you know, D.C.
You two have the rivalry too. The Buckeyes, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's Big Ten country right there for sure.
It is. Huge rival.
So I have real quick. We only, like I said earlier, we only need 25 more in super chat, and we draw a third shirt. I'm hoping we can get there, but if we don't, no big deal. But the question I have here, Alyssa and Travis, and some people watching might be very interested. Now, obviously, if you're in a career like mine, where I'm a high school teacher, I wouldn't have the opportunity to do what you two did. But there are a lot of people, there are a lot more jobs out there where people are working from home, are working from their computers and things like that, which give them some flexibility. What tips or what advice would you give to some people that this might be a possibility for, to actually kind of travel abroad? And then to follow up that question, you shared with me some other travel plans you have in the very near future. If you could fill everybody in on the upcoming travel plans and things that you have planned to go on.
Sure.
Let's take over.
Definitely. Oh, goodness. I mean, I would say if you want to go into some of like the budgeting, really, you would have to see, like, do you have a house? Like we didn't have.
That's one advantage, I suppose, of our lifestyle, that we've become minimalists, since our DC life, and we've pared down so much. We don't have any furniture, and we don't have any car, and we don't really have any obligations that allow us to travel. And the whole getting a remote work, I mean, there are a lot of fields out there that do support this kind of remote work initiative that has come out of the pandemic, for better or for worse. A lot of people might not like it, and a lot of others do. And I get that. But for me, it really allowed, I think, both of us to say, wow, we're young, we can travel. Like, let's look at this serious. And I think that the other countries around the world are embracing that fact that people are going to want to work remotely too. And this has been happening for a while. But for example, Spain, they just opened up their digital nomad visa that allows you to stay for over a year in Spain on a digital nomad visa. And then you can extend that up to 5 years, which gives you free range all over the European Union with a visa, a residential visa in Spain, just by proving that you have a job, that you've got health insurance, that you make a certain amount of money, and that you can support yourself basically, and they'll go through the application process. A lot of countries are doing that. In fact, some in the Caribbean too. So if it was ever your dream to live live in Aruba, or I believe Curacao has a digital nomad program. A lot of those Caribbean islands are starting their own because they see it as a way to bring in a lot more money, to the people that live there. And what a great idea,
Yeah.
And then before you get to the next part where you tell about the upcoming plans, Angie came in a little bit late, and I know we touched on this, but she said I may have missed this, but how'd you navigate the internet for working in the ship? So Angie, I can answer that question because they already answered it. Travis didn't do as much video. He did more like audio. So I guess the audio part of the, internet and, just basically chats and things like that all worked fine. It was more the video were the issues, which is the stuff that I've always had problems with, and Andrew had problems with.
I think sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think once Starlink actually gets installed on all the ships, we're going to see a ton more of people that can work remotely, do that. I mean, I know there's people all the time where they say there's no way they could live on a ship. They've got to get off. They've got, whatever. They miss normal life. But there's going to be quite a bit of people that, take this as a serious consideration, which will be really cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited about Starlink, getting installed on all the ships. I mean, that will open up a lot of possibilities. Another few tips and tricks as far as internet goes. We both used Google Voice exclusively to make phone calls because we had to call Carnival corporate a lot. And while on days, where we were at sea all day, so we would use our Google Voice numbers to call over the internet back to landlines, call family and things like that. But the internet, I mean, for voice, it was fine. But it really depends what kind of job you've got.
And doing it in port. Like when we went on the transatlantic cruise on Princess, the internet was very bad.
Very bad, yeah. Crossing that hemisphere line where you're switching from the northern satellites to the southern ones, that switch over.
Transatlantic would be difficult to have a remote job, but going around the Caribbean and especially being in port, you would be able to get plenty of work done. And with Starlink coming, then even transatlantic would be fine.
Shouldn't be a problem.
Supposedly.
That's at least what they're saying, So
very cool. So tell us about the future, because you have everybody jealous now because you two are like living the life. Traveling the world. Oh, we lived in Cozumel for 3 months. We stayed on the horizon for summer, and we're just going to Europe and then traveling transatlantic and everything. So tell everybody, tell us all about the dream life and the upcoming travel.
It was also unplanned. Honestly, everything has been kind of just very unplanned, but we found that taking a cruise ship to another country is actually a better deal than flying. Yeah,
pretty much. I mean, and honestly, this particular cruise, which happens to be the Carnival Pride, leaving out of Tampa, Florida on April 13th of this year, we found that cruise when we were still on board the Horizon, and we'd met a lovely couple, and they're actually taking the same cruise too. But they booked it then, and we were looking at it, and we were like, oh, we could grab a balcony for $100. I mean, for a 13-day cruise, transatlantic for $100 a piece. I'm like, we should do this, but we couldn't pull the trigger. We just didn't know where we'd be.
We were like, we don't know what's going on. Let's not do it. And then the deal wasn't available throughout November, December, January, and then finally it became available, and we're like, okay, let's just book it because we've been wanting to. So you do kind of have to have, I guess, a little bit more flexibility with.
We waited and waited for that deal to come back, and the second it was, I sent her a message. She's like, "Yep, book it immediately. That's our way to Europe." So
you're going from Tampa to London
to Barcelona.
Barcelona.
Yeah, we're gonna end up in Barcelona, and we're planning on just kind of gallivanting around Europe for at least 90 days, the maximum of the Schengen visa that they've got over there, and we'll just kind of see where we end up.
Maybe we can cruise back. I'm hoping.
Yeah, in fact, that's absolutely a possibility. I mean, we might stay there longer than 90 days. We might head out of the European Union and into the UK or Ireland, kill time there until our visa resets, and then head back down to the Mediterranean, maybe cruise back.
Well, if you're hopping on the Pride over the summer on the Ireland-Scotland cruise or the Iceland cruise, me and Michelle and our son will be on that one. So.
Oh, that was amazing.
Yeah. So that's why I was asking. I was like, is it the London one? Did we just become best friends?
Oh, too bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah. That will. I'm jealous of that one.
That'll
Andrew,
be beautiful.
Sure. That's
We're really excited.
Have you two been to Barcelona before?
No.
Nope.
Have you guys?
Yeah.
Anita, my wife and I, we did a Mediterranean cruise, and that's where it ended up. It ended up in Barcelona. So we stayed there 2 or 3 days. We did the Familia Sagrada and a bunch of the other sites around there. But it's a beautiful, beautiful city. The thing that strikes me so much about Europe is, we're so into, American history and stuff. Mm-hmm. And, when you go to Europe, like everything is like 3,000 years old or whatever. Like you'll walk by an apartment building that's like 1,200 years old, and it's, still a working, functioning apartment building, everything,
Sure.
Nobody gives it a second thought because it's just an apartment building and there's, 10 more like it in the city, but it's 1,200 years old, older by, 4 times anything we have in the States. But it's just that the history is just so rich and deep there. It's hard to wrap your mind around. So that was one of the things. I'm not even a big history person, but that's the thing I guess that just struck me was, you'll go to places and, Colosseums and things like that, that are 3,000 BC and that kind of thing. And it's just like, and then you'll find, artifacts and things that are still intact. Like I remember we went to this bathhouse in Pompeii, and I mean, I'm going all across Europe here now, but I mean, it still had we walked on the same marble floors that existed when, it was there. Like, so, I mean, we're walking on the same floor as people, 5,000, 4,000 years ago or whatever it was. Before Pompeii got buried by ass. So that was just, like I said, that was just crazy. So
yeah, we really hope to get over along the Mediterranean there. We definitely want to try to get to Italy and possibly over to Greece. And I think that our primary mode of travel while we're over there is just going to be trains.
Yeah.
I think that we're pretty much just going to train it everywhere. That allows.
We have backpacks now.
There you go.
We've cleared down a lot since you met us, Brad. We had that whole storage unit with my God. Way too much. So now we've just got backpacks. We're living very light.
I'll tell you what. I think I'm going to get people. Requesting your two's info because they're like, look, I want that life. I want to live that life, whatever they're doing. I want to drop everything and live the life that you two are living. So I think you have a lot of us jealous that are.
You got to love to travel, and you have to roll with the punches when things don't go quite right.
Yeah, it has been stressful.
There have been moments of stress, so let us not sugarcoat things too much.
Yeah, it's been a lot of stories.
A lot of stories, and I don't know why we don't have a blog yet. We've definitely talked about it. So
we really should, and we could give tips on renting, at least in Mexico.
Renting in Mexico, at least right now.
Because we have experience with that, with vacation rentals and. Just with cruise life, we really should.
Yeah. Oh my God! Yeah,
tonight.
I know.
Absolutely should. Oh my God! I mean, I'm surprised I didn't think about that till you just said that. But I mean, there'd be so many people that would just be all about. I mean, if you'd have just started your YouTube when you spent the summer on the Horizon,
I know
3 months in Cozumel, and now we're doing a transatlantic and blah blah blah.
Better late than never.
Absolutely, start your own thing, and then I could be a guest on your show.
Absolutely, be honored.
We really should, because we don't know how long this is going to last for us. So we're going to take advantage of it while we can, while
Absolutely.
we don't have a apartment or anything here. We're
Mhm.
fortunate enough to be able to crash at his parents' house, which we're at now.
That's true.
In between our travel. So, we don't know how long everything's going to last. So we want to just enjoy it while we can.
Yep.
And that keeps life so fresh, though, because you kind of have a little bit of plans here and there, things upcoming, but everything's exciting, and that's
yeah.
awesome.
And we kind of learned the hard way, with our planning to live in Miami. I mean, we planned that for a long time, 4 months in advance, all for it to crash and burn within, a week or two. And so we just kind of learned after that, we just kind of have to roll a lot easier, just not plan so far out and see.
Do not rent sight unseen for a long-term rental anywhere. Book a hotel in the place you may want to stay.
Yep.
Look, your first video, perfect.
Yeah, that's what I
You could go on and on.
Yeah, definitely.
We've had some really good luck with some places in Mexico, but I know Miami was the worst rentals.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
very tough down there.
Very tough. So yeah, if that's any advice, just book a hotel before looking.
Book a hotel before looking, yeah.
Or before renting.
Before renting long term, yeah.
Well, and believe it or not, we zipped through that hour really quick. But Andrew, you're gonna have a hard time following this story, but you're traveling soon. Tell us about your travel.
I feel like I'm going around the corner to the stop sign. No, we're excited. We're celebrating our 3 birthdays, the family, January, February, March. And instead of buying each other a whole bunch of random gifts that no one will remember in a couple of years, we are all just going on a short 6-day Carnival Magic cruise. So this is the last dream class ship that we haven't been on, so we're excited to get on it. And, it's going to 3 islands that you can really just get off either beach or pool it. So it's going to be very, kind of frugal and inexpensive. So we're excited about that. And then our next big trip is over the summer. So that's the one we're still saving for. We're still in the process of paying for that. But although the final date is coming quickly.
Yeah, and as I mentioned briefly earlier, Andrew and I, we have collaborated on a recent video where we both did a top 10 rankings of all the free food on the regular, I guess, Carnival cruise line. Now, there's an XL class now where they've added so many more food options, and we're going to do a separate video on that coming soon to a YouTube screen near you. And then, as I mentioned, I'm doing the Carnival Horizon April 1st. That's where I'm at, Travis and Alyssa. So looking forward to that. But yeah, we zipped through this hour. That was so much fun. So easy to talk to you too. And,
yeah, happy to be here for sure.
And wish we could live your life and things like that. We'll live vicariously through you. You can,
right.
Maybe we'll do another live while you're in Barcelona or something.
That's perfect. Yeah.
We would love that.
Yeah, we would be happy.
We'll give some thought to doing a little bit of vlogging.
There you go. Good. Get the wheel turning.
I'll tell you what, you absolutely should. Angie, and I'll be traveling with Angie. She's one of the people that's going to be on that cruise. But she says, Alyssa and Travis, so good to see peeps enjoying their life and seeing the world. No jealousy here. Keep it up. Love it.
That's awesome.
Oh, thank you. We hope to cruise with you guys all. God, that'd be so fun.
Yeah. If any of your viewers see us, you can definitely come up and say hi to us.
Pride,
or if you're going to be on the Pride, definitely reach out.
Right. And Fireball Steve, I've cruised with Fireball as well in Texas here. Mike Anthony, he's a regular on the Coach Cruise channel. Will G, the same. We cruise together. Erica's saying hi. I didn't get a chance to say hi to you. And Holmes Gaming was asking a question. He's going to be doing a bachelor party. So congratulations and have fun on that, Holmes.
Very nice.
So again, thank you two so much. We went over a little bit, but it was so much fun. We had to. And, and when do you two actually leave for your transatlantic again?
It's April 13th.
Yep.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you're about 6 weeks away. I'll be getting back from my cruise, and you'll be getting ready to get on.
You'll have to let us know how our old home is.
Oh.
I did. Well, I'll be doing vlogs, and I'm going to try to do a couple lives too. So if I do, jump in on there in the chat. Maybe we can. The internet is cooperating on the horizon. We could get you in the feed as well. That'll be fun.
And
awesome.
join the Magic, Andrew. We were on the Magic in 2018.
Very nice.
Gorgeous ship.
Awesome. We're so excited. So
yeah. The Magic is a really fun ship. And Anna Maria, I think the most famous.
Oh, yeah, she's going to be on, right?
She's on the Magic right now.
Yeah, that's right.
Anna Maria was on the horizon when you
was on the horizon. Yeah, we saw her shows.
Oh, yeah.
And that was one thing I forgot to mention, but because you played in the casino, you were getting free drinks in the casino. So you didn't have to pay for your drinks either, right?
Yeah, we didn't cover that. Yeah, I didn't have to pay for drinks ever. That was always
sometimes
included.
it was for
two of the cruises was actually all over the ship.
All around the ship, and we didn't even know until
we didn't even know.
End,
oh no!
Every cruise had different rate codes.
We had
different
rate
deals.
codes.
And I was like, what? I could have been getting coffee every day.
Yeah, so it was just one of those things we didn't even realize it. But then somebody told me, and I'm like, really?
Oh, that's the worst. That's the worst.
I know.
I'd be like, can we have a redo? Let's start it next week.
Hey, I got a funny story. I got to make fun of my wife here to end this. So we were on a Hawaiian cruise, and she's like you mentioned the sushi, how much you love sushi and everything. She's a huge sushi fan. This is a cruise many years ago, like 15 years ago. It was a long time ago. I think it was a Norwegian cruise. And, they had like their fun times version, whatever, the paper. And the first day we get on, I'm reading through and I see the sushi, and it's like, I see $5 to go to the sushi restaurant or whatever. And I was like, oh, hey, I'm not as knowledgeable about sushi and stuff as she is. She's a sushi nut. And I said, look, Anita, you can go to the sushi restaurant. I'll lend you $5. And she's like, no, it's not $5. It's $5 per roll is what they're charging you. And I was like, no, I don't know. I mean, it says $5 per person, for the sushi thing. She's like, you don't know what you're talking about. We're going to save that for the last night. We'll make that a special thing and we'll go have sushi then. I'm like, okay, whatever. So we go the last night. We're eating the sushi and stuff like that. The guy's making like dragons out of the sushi. It's so good.
Gosh.
We're just throwing down, eating all this sushi or whatever. And she's like, oh my God, I wonder what the bill's going to be. Bring the bill. It's $10.
Oh, no, you could have been there all week.
Could have been going all the time.
Like, she was so upset. She's like, I could have been eating all the sushi the whole cruise. And I was like, I told you. I was like, see what you get for not listening to your husband,
Yeah.
You finally got one.
Yeah. But all right, everybody. Alyssa and Travis, again, thank you so much. Andrew, thank you again so much. And everybody that stayed on and watched all the way through this, appreciate you. And if you haven't already liked and subscribed to Andrew at Funnelhead, make sure you do. And if by some chance you're checking us out, Coach Cruz, for the first time, hit subscribe for us as well. And Alyssa and Travis, what's going to be the name of your channel when you decide? You got to give that some thought.
You're putting us on the spot. Yeah, we'll have to think about it.
We'll post it on Coach Cruz when you two make up a channel name, and
exactly.
you can follow them traveling around the world or whatever. And you can say you saw them here first. I saw them on Coach Cruz before they even had a channel. And look at them now.
Right, yeah.
You guys are too sweet. Well, if people would actually follow our story, then maybe we'll think about it.
Yeah, we'll definitely.
Honestly, God, there were so many people that were just. There were so many people staying and watching, and that weren't even asking questions. You could just tell they were just watching and enjoying the show and everything. So I think definitely they would definitely do that. So.
Oh yeah. 100%.
All right, everybody. Well, take care, and we will see you maybe with another very special guest. I'm trying to work that out. We'll try to get that together. And if you're not on Facebook, Coach Cruz, make sure you sign up for that, because I'll announce who the next featured guest is very shortly, I hope. So we'll see everybody next week. Take care.
Good night, guys.
Bye. Thank you.